No Le Pen president. The problem for these people, right, is that because they have a certain way to present their politics to attract some people, they might arrive to a presidency like Trump, where if you have half of the population that hates you, it's complicated to go to certain places and etc. So like if you are the president of the people from Guadeloupe, Martinique, from the Dom and Tom, Guyane, Saint-Pierre-et-Miquelon, all these places, if you spent your campaign hating on them, even if it's not them, they still feel it. So how you make them like just respect you enough so that when you go and you hear there's not a revolt. That's the problem, especially in countries like France. In countries like Eastern Europe, where there's maybe less countries built less on immigration, and those people, even the immigration is between Slavic people. So even when they have a far right person at the helm, for the people it's not a shock as it is for the people of France, because the people from France, they all believe that they are righteous. We believe that we are like the chosen ones. So it's complicated. If there's a far right-wing president, then everybody's like, oh my God, we are like, they discover they discover reality, and they don't like reality because they like to point fingers on others. If now they are us too, a lot of people will not like live it well. And it's a country that has so many territories outside of its own territory. When you talk about Hungary, that has Orban, Hungary is just Hungary. The territory. It's not Hungary and Martinique and Guadeloupe and Guyane and les Mahorais, like Nouvelle-Calédonie, all these places. France is still have a lot of territory from the old empire that they never gave back to all these different populations. And they don't want to give them back because it's strategic, so that they can have geopolitical advantage from all the places in the ocean. So that's why they will never give back Guadeloupe, Martinique, Guyane. They need to launch at Kourou. Saint-Pierre-et-Miquelon give them an advantage here. The Polynesia give them an advantage as well, not far from the Pacific, etc. So they have so many territories that are sometimes 8,000 kilometers from France, and they want to keep them for geopolitical reasons. But then at the same time, they want to have a hexagonal, like it's very interesting that the French president only comes from Paris. I mean, he might come from somewhere in the hexagon, but we never had a French president that was from Guadeloupe or from Martinique or from Cayenne. Or even listen, even if he's white, we never had a French president that is a Béquet or somebody who's white but lived all his life in Cayenne and just went up from there. So it's a country that is full of contradictions and is still very centralized. Like, people are like, it's Paris ruling the rest. So the further you are from Paris, the less you feel like you exist until they need you to vote. And then the rest of the time, you don't they don't even talk about what happens like in the news. Like, if you want to know what happens in Martinique, which is French territory, it's not like Oh, it's no, no. It is part of the French territory. If you want to know what happens there, you need to turn on Martinique Première. You need to turn on local channels. The Paris centralized television, when they play the things, unless there's something negative or something like crazy happening, they will not talk to you about what happens and all the great things that happen in Martinique, Guadeloupe, Guyane, and the rest of the other territories. So, yeah, there's a complete contradiction, and yeah, so this is why, like, a far right president would be a shock to all of them, all of us, not to me, but us as the French people. So, yeah, listen, it's compliqué. So with all these noise, only 7% to Zemmour. Well, I mean, listen, that's still a lot of people. First of all, 7%, I don't know. I think there's been 35 million people who voted. So 7% is still, a few million people to 3 million people, something like that. The thing is, the media does a lot of exaggeration. The media also, the media, probably, I would say that the reason why it died down so early for him was that the media started too early. The whole Zemmour president, that it started way too early. So by the time we arrived in, I think he announced in November, I think, or December, I don't remember. So by the time we arrived in February, the media talked about it too much, and it started dying down. So people were saying 13%, 15%, and it ended up being 7% only. So can he do a negotiation with Marine? I don't know. The problem is, at the same time, when during the campaign you talk a certain way about these people, you steal some people, you steal her niece, etc. I don't know if these people will say, yeah, the game is the game, because now you are enemies. So now the question is, if he was not there, I know a lot of the people who voted for him are also people that are not from the far right, that just from the right, but they like his project. If he wasn't there, what would have been the score of Marine Le Pen? That's the question that people are asking themselves, because they are not so far one from each other. And I think last time I checked, Mélenchon was not too far. Let me see. Let me check. Let me see. Jadot under the 500%. So Emmanuel Macron 27%, Marine Le Pen and Jean-Luc Mélenchon. So less than 8,000 for her. 7,900,000, and him 7,100,000. So is it already finished, or Mélenchon can go back up? That's the question I'm asking myself. I'm wondering what Zemmour will do after that, because he can continue, right? Become a deputy, or go back to doing books, because if he does a book, he's gonna make even more money. So he's a multimillionaire with all his books. Or maybe just start working on in 5 years or in 10 years. All right. Interesting. So, yeah, we'll see. you know,